Welcome to episode 170 of the Muck Podcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Hadamiya.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
It's Friday night.
Another Friday, and we're recording next Friday.
Hey.
Make sure you bring a change of shirt for the video.
Oh,
Consistency
yeah.
to the video.
Oh, yeah.
I can always lend you a shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Girl, welcome
Girl.
to it.
Welcome to hell.
You know, it is, but here's the thing that's funny is that I start sometimes when I pray to God, I pray, number one, for the success of the Muck Podcast, you know?
Okay.
And I start to think, like, what would that look like? What's it gonna be like when
It's
it
gonna
starts
be
to roll?
It's gonna be trolls.
It's gonna be trolls, right? And so, in the last 2 days, we've had trolls.
Yeah. So, but
on a Facebook post and Instagram post, and I'm just like,
that's a good sign.
yeah, I was like, Tina was freaking out because she was like, oh, they're called. They basically thought that we aligned with white supremacists because we were picking on the two old ladies from Texas.
Yeah.
And I was like, did you listen to the podcast episode? Because that's not how it went.
And then I went back and listened because I'm like, what?
Yeah. And we were gagging on their saggy titties.
Yeah. I mean, that was it. Like, it was a stupid, funny story. Yeah. Like, it sucks for them. And we did acknowledge that there is this other
You did. And you said, here's this other thing that happened.
Yeah.
She went back and she fought it.
And
I was like,
the charges were dropped and la 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 la. But the best part is the woman responded and was like, I can't find the link. So she didn't even listen to the episode.
Right. And then
she
today,
still hasn't responded.
And then today, because she did listen and she's an idiot. Or she didn't, but she's just fucking dragging people.
Yeah.
There's 3 people on that same dumb post.
Yeah.
And, by the way, the way you write those posts is to intrigue people.
Right, to get them
that
to
was
listen.
the point. And they read it thinking that we were siding with the people they were against, which apparently they're saying are good old boys. Now, I don't know who's listening to this, but anybody who's a regular listener knows that we don't align with the good old boys.
No.
Right?
And, you know, that could show some newspaper bias, right? That it's the small town. This is the news. That's all really that I go by is what has been published.
Right.
And whatever. I don't need to cover.
No.
I don't need to.
You did nothing wrong. What? And Tina's like, should I say? I go, Tina, you did it. Yeah. They should go listen and then go fuck themselves. And the same thing with the story that I did last week. There was a post today, and someone's like, didn't he blame black men? Yeah, he did blame the Leo Franks attorneys did try to blame black men, and the prosecutor said they were too dumb to even do it. Like,
so it was all of the racism was there. The racism that they didn't think. Can you imagine?
I mean,
like that idiocy of
what's worse?
It's horrible.
Yeah, racism or anti-Semitism. Pick your fucking poison.
And then
both
there's
bad.
Anti-Semitism. Then there's a girl who's been killed.
Yeah, like this poor girl's murdered.
The whole thing is a mess.
What a story.
The whole thing is a mess. But then to immediately jump and again not listen because we talked about the racism in there.
It's okay. So, it was another like white good old boy. When I clicked on his account, I was like, this guy's a fucking troll too. Yeah. But maybe it's a good sign. Maybe it's a good sign. Because I do pray, please God. Yeah. If there's a God, He will allow us to do this. If there's a God, she will allow us to do this for a living. Allow us to do this for a living.
Yes.
Oh God. Woo. And then we had some news today, and I was telling my mom about it. She's like, well, I'm gonna have to go listen to your podcast, and I'm going, that sounds great, like whatever. She's busy pulling weeds, and so she says, I'm gonna go listen to that one from 2 days ago, and I was like, okay. And I hang up, and I was like, oh, my mom's gonna learn how I feel about 69 as soon as she tunes in. Oh well,
right at the top. You know what? This is a show. We are media. We are media. This is our, this is our thing. This is our thing. Yeah, it's what we do.
What do you want from me?
What?
You know what? This is exactly you sitting in, I'm pointing at the camera for YouTube, and I'm pointing at you listeners if you're listening anywhere else. If you were sitting at a bar with us, this is what it would sound like, bitch.
God damn it.
You would hear about 69.
It's true.
And you'd hear about DeSantis. That's how we roll.
That's it.
I keep saying I don't know why. 90. So, because we're doing your one story, we do have, when we said last week Nashville was on fire, wow. Bitch, it exploded this week. It exploded.
And that's what I want to talk about, the expulsion.
This is
the expulsion.
Insane to me.
It was Rep. Justin Jones and Rep. Justin Pearson, who both got expelled. They were voted out of their elected seats because they were supporting their constituents. I mean, they're running for those seats again. And then Gloria Johnson, who also was with them, supporting constituents to go up against the ridiculous, like Tennessee is basically Florida. I mean, we're all the same.
But, they're fighting for gun laws.
They're fighting for gun laws.
They just had this mass shooting there.
And she did not get expelled. And she did speak about it and why. And she knows it's because she's white.
Yeah. Well, one of them said something that I thought was incredible.
I want both of them on the podcast.
Get them on. When one of them was expelled, before he was expelled, he said on the floor, "I'm fighting for your kids too."
Yeah.
That's what I said last week. Like, it doesn't matter where you sit on any side of the aisle. When a mass shooter is intent on murder, he's coming into your kid's school.
He's not going to go.
He doesn't care how you voted.
Right.
He doesn't care if you're a child of a representative who's fighting for the NRA,
Right.
by the way.
They don't give a shit.
Ron DeSantis is signing a permitless carry in the dead of night
in the dark,
closed doors.
Everything's in the dark.
With members of the NRA.
Can you?
In the room with him, and with pictures.
It
doesn't end. So what scares me the most is what we know. And what we see happen in Texas, Florida takes it. What happens in Florida, Kansas is now doing the banning trans children from playing sports and inspecting their genitals. They got that from us. We're so proud. Okay, that came from Florida. So what we just saw in Tennessee, I'm preparing myself that our friends that we love,
this is going to happen.
This will happen to them.
And we just had 2 reps arrested.
Yeah.
Earlier this week.
Yes, Senator Lauren Book and Nikki Fried was arrested.
Right, and I did see a lot online.
And a lot of activists.
And that it were Black women activists who organized and who don't get, who don't get the attention. Yeah, so just to acknowledge Sarah Martinez Parker and other Black activists who were the ones who, organized and made it possible for the 2 of them to get arrested and have this.
Created the demonstration.
Yes.
Yeah. And so Florida signed this. I mean, he'll sign this 6-week abortion ban, and it does have exceptions this time for rape, but
here's the thing.
Nobody knows that they're pregnant at 6 weeks. So what's the fucking difference?
What's the difference?
It is a dark, dark day, and I fully expect these things to roll on over. Like, I don't see anything changing.
We have a big problem.
Yeah.
We have a big problem. And did you hear about, now I don't know the whole story, but there is that woman that was the COVID lady in the state, who he, fired her and like whatever, they go back and forth. Well, her son now has been arrested, and DeSantis moved forward on it, and she did this whole thing about how she had to get her daughter and husband out of the state. Because
I did hear about that, but I don't know a lot about it.
So I don't know a lot about it. From what I hear was that there was a meme that was posted.
Rebecca Jones.
And there was a meme that was posted when I read the meme, I was like, oh, this is kind of making fun of the cops of Uvalde, because it was cops sleeping, waiting to, till everything stopped. So they looked into it, but then I did hear that there may have been other kind of credible threats being made. I don't know the whole story. But when I first heard of this idea that he's going after her, and I'm wondering if it was another kid, and they investigate these things all the time, and then it's okay, there was nothing to it, or blah, 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 and they move on. I'm wondering, is there more pressure because of who she is and because of DeSantis?
I mean, it's possible. He's not someone who sits back and allows people to just keep moving. You know what I mean? I mean, speaking of that, let's talk about Disney.
Yes.
Disney's back on the table. He went to Michigan, my beloved, and he's on that campaign trail
with his cowboy boots,
and he's supposed to be fucking working.
Did you hear the cowboy boots because he wants to appear a little taller?
So he goes to Michigan, and he says it's the anti-Florida, which makes it even more sweet to me. I'm like, let's go. But then he said that someone said something about Disney, and he said that now they're going to go back. They're going to go back and open it up. Well, and they're talking about tolls on the road.
Yeah, hotel taxes,
and
tolls. So now this is our money maker, right? Like, what kind of governor is going to hurt something that generates a lot of money?
Yeah.
Disney has to generate a shit ton of money for Florida.
Absolutely.
In tourism. Like,
Absolutely.
come on.
And Bob Iger, I thought, did an amazing job last week when he said he had at a shareholders meeting for Disney. They said, why are we there's people who thought it was a good idea that Disney said something about don't say gay, and there's people on the board that are like, why are we getting involved in this?
Yeah.
Right? And so he said that, the companies are allowed to say whatever they want. That's the First Amendment, right? And you can either take the hit or you don't take the hit. He's fine that they said something because he wasn't the CEO at the time. But he's fine that they did. He said the retaliation, quote, from DeSantis is anti-business and it's anti-Florida. And he's absolutely right. That's exactly what it is.
The Republicans who are big business dudes, like, why? I don't understand why they wouldn't be flipped out about it, especially,
or just let it go.
And then there's also like corporations are people, so like what are you attacking?
But a week had gone by and nothing had been said. This whole thing came out. We talked about it on the show last Friday night. Listen, it was dust in the wind. Let it go. I can't believe, with everything happening in this state, I cannot believe.
Oh, this is what we're focused
on. We are picking up this baton again. In what fucking universe? DeSantis is going to be gone in 2 years. He's going to be in D.C. He's going to be president.
Oh, girl.
What the fuck? He is. What are you guys doing in the legislature? What are you doing? Because you're nobodies. You're going to have to go back to your fucking hometowns and face people there. And not even about Disney. About
children.
Don't Say Gay. About taking books off the shelf. You motherfuckers have to go to your kids' schools. And you have to look people in the eyes. And you're going to tell me that they're all okay with what you're doing? There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. You know who's voting along lines on all this. You know who's
Mr. Chip-LaMarca.
Because
he has nothing to lose now.
Yeah,
he has nothing to lose now. He's such a jerk off.
He loved to be part of the gun legislation a couple years ago. Oh, he was with it, Lori Alladef, and who lost her daughter at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. Now she's a school board member. Oh, her and Chip are good friends, and he worked on legislation that she was a part of, and yada yada yada. This motherfucker just voted for permitless carry.
Yep. I don't know how he can walk around this town.
Oh, easy.
I don't know how he can walk around this town.
Because here's the fucking tea, bitch. We think polite society exists like normally. Polite society in politics is the fakest fucking shit you are ever gonna see. Ever going to see. We know all that shit that happens. And then in front of everybody else, it's nobody will say anything to him. Nobody says anything to him. And he's gonna come back here in 2 years and he's gonna run for this county commission.
Oh God.
And he will be back in our lives again.
God, he's just like, he won't go away.
Yeah. So, I don't know what's fucking happening.
And we should just spend the next 2 years harassing his phone lines, just calling, something just to make it miserable for him for 2 years.
I'm watching, here comes my doom and gloom. As I'm watching what's happening in Nashville, and they have been relentless. Every day it's the same amount of people, which is a lot. Filling
those
it,
kids.
doing everything you can imagine. These young kids, teenagers, college kids. And I just know the momentum will eventually go away and everything will go back to normal. Like, they're not going to do anything. It doesn't matter. And like we said last week, it happens when November rolls around. That's when we will see something happen. The former governor of Wisconsin, Scott Walker, he was on Fox News last night and he literally said that if you look at the elections, you look at the polls, it's the youth that are voting. These are the groups that we need to stop. They've affected elections in this state. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, he
said the word stop. We have to stop
this. This is the youth.
That's what we need to play over and over.
Yeah.
They are not for your best interest. Listen to what they said.
And we hear about that, though. Like, for years we heard we have to engage 18 to 25-year-olds. Everybody was fighting for 18 to 25-year-olds, And then here we are, getting the 18 and 25-year-olds to vote, but because they're not voting the way that you want them to,
they're going to try to stifle an entire generation of people.
I'm going to pull that video up.
We need to make, every single day, we have to bombard TikTok with stop the vote, stop the youth.
Did you see TikTok is banned on college campuses? You cannot open TikTok at FAU. You can't open it on Florida State campus. TikTok has been banned from college campuses as of this week. You use their Wi-Fi, you can't open TikTok on those campuses. That was in the paper, and I haven't seen anybody talking about it.
But is it because of like the whole Biden going after TikTok?
Yes,
or is it something else?
There's something came down from the state education department in Florida.
But that's
because of Chinese interference.
Right. But I didn't think that Biden did anything on a federal level. So this is DeSantis is agreeing.
Yes.
Wow.
5-alarm warning to the GOP.
Seen it particularly in Wisconsin, but across the country, is younger voters. In Wisconsin last fall, we saw about a 40-point margin that younger voters gave to the Democrats running for Senate and governor. We saw similar margins in Pennsylvania. Part of the reason why you have John Fetterman in U.S. Senate, in Arizona, and Georgia, and elsewhere. And just this week in Wisconsin, we don't yet know the numbers by age, but we do know that Dane County, which is where the University of Wisconsin's flagship campus is at, about 50,000 students are enrolled there. Dane County cast more ballots in the race for the Supreme Court than the largest county in the state, Milwaukee County. And in Dane County, 82% of those votes went for the radical. And so unless we turn young people around, and it's not as simple as one campaign ad or some sort of a coalition, this is years of liberal indoctrination coming home to roost, and we got to turn it around if we're going to win again.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So now we know. Now this is their plan.
He says, "Go get them."
We gotta figure it out.
Yeah,
we gotta figure it out.
He doesn't say stop them. He says we need to stop them from being indoctrinated, which is what the Stop Woke Act is.
Yeah.
Don't learn about your history.
And this is the thing, because think about it. Like the kids who are in school now, like kids who are like late elementary school kids, middle school kids, high school kids currently.
Yeah.
Those kids are living in a world where they still remember things not being like this, right? But then think about it, the kids entering kindergarten and first grade that are too young, who now their education, these rising kindergarten, first grade students onward, because if this legislation lasts, right, then it's going to take, so that's at least 4 years. So if a kid is in second grade, that's till sixth grade, right, where they're not getting accurate information as far as history or exposure to different schools of thought with works of literature. And then those kids are going to move on. By the time the law changes, then they might be in the middle of high school. Then they may very well have some different kind of mindset because they're not having this exposure.
Of course.
So it's danger. We really need to just be handing out books to families. Like, you can't afford books. Like, here's books. Here's ways to supplement history at home. Do some kind of thing. Like, if you're living in Florida and your schools aren't offering this, like, here's a real history, like fun videos, something to like expose your kids to.
Well, in Florida this session, they just put the surprise bill out that is going to suppress student voters here.
Yeah.
That if you're from out of state, you can't vote here. You got to go back to where your home is to vote, and you can't get a mail-in ballot. Like, they're already doing it here. So,
they're saying you can't get the mail-in ballot, like if you're up in Tallahassee and you vote from Broward.
It says the new bill adds to that by requiring such a groups to provide a receipt for each application, which would then start the clock on a reduced 10-day period down from 14 days in which to submit the application to the voters county.
Yeah, so, I mean, what the hell is going on?
I don't know.
What the hell is going
so
on?
So one thing that I want to talk to you about
college students.
I mean,
now?
it's all happening. It's all happening. Just, I mean, I don't know what to tell y'all. Be prepared. It's going to happen. If you live in one of these states, and oh God, I was thinking today how lucky somebody must be if they live not in Florida or not in Tennessee or not in Texas, and they're watching from the outside as these bills are going through. It's got to be out of their minds watching.
It's outrageous. And I spoke to my lovely, wonderful, incredible cousin Mark. Brilliant, handsome, lovely, kind, incredible person. Mm-hmm. He told me, every time he and his wife are watching something, they're like, man, and he's like, yeah, I heard this, and I'm like, oh, well, wait, no, that's like 10 steps behind. And it was constant gasping after gasping of me telling him, because they can't understand it.
I know, it makes no sense.
We live it.
The part that really is frustrating, it just seems like
day.
Such a waste of time.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing I wanted to bring up before, unless you have something else, but the last thing I wanted to bring up before your story is this Justice Clarence Thomas bombshell.
Oh my God. AOC put out that he better, be expelled from his seat.
He came out with a thing today. He said he didn't realize the rules had changed. And that moving forward, he'll play by these other new rules.
Oh, screw
we're talking
you!
About hundreds, we're talking about millions and millions of dollars.
Trips. He
Millions
has
of
a nice
dollars.
vacay, and people are rolling, giving him. How corrupt is that?
Okay, so listen to this. I wanted to read you because every
Read
paragraph,
me everything.
every paragraph of this ProPublica article is it's insanity. But this is the beginning of the story. I'm going to read you the whole thing because I couldn't take it. For more than 2 decades, Thomas has accepted luxury trips in virtually every year from the Dallas businessman without disclosing them. Documents and interviews show. A public servant who has a salary of $285,000. He has vacationed on Crow's super yacht around the globe. He flies on Crow's Bombardier Global 5000 jet. He has gone with Crow to the Bohemian Grove, the exclusive California all-male retreat, and to Crow's sprawling ranch in East Texas. And then Thomas typically spends about a week every summer at Crow's private resort in the Adirondacks. The extent and frequency of Crow's apparent gifts to Thomas have no known precedent in the modern history of the U.S. Supreme Court. These trips appeared nowhere on Thomas's financial disclosures. His failure to report the flights appears to violate a law passed after Watergate that requires justices, judges, members of Congress, and federal officials to disclose most gifts. 2 ethics law experts say. He also should have disclosed his trips on the yacht, these experts say. By the way, end quote. That's from the article.
So he's saying, wow, that thing happened and I completely forgot this law changed.
No, he said he didn't know.
How do you not
Can you
know?
imagine?
We
And
do
also,
stories after stories
I
about
know.
people that do this
He's
very
a
thing
Supreme
that
Court
end up
justice.
in jail.
He's a Supreme Court justice.
He's
This
gonna get
isn't
away
going
with
away.
it.
There's no way John Roberts can let this go. It's too out there. And also, they were saying that a week or 2 weeks on this guy's yacht, if they priced it, and if he was going to do it, it was a $500,000 vacation. That's how this is into the millions and millions of dollars.
2 weeks on a yacht?
Yeah, on a super yacht in this wherever they were.
Oh.
It would have cost you $500,000 for that 2 week vacation.
I'm so sick of
And he went for free, so that's the value of the gift.
No, this.
Come on! This is one of the
And then
stories that
I
you
would-
tell me and you go, and guess how much it
Guess
was?
how
And
much
I
it
fell off the chair.
Yeah. He should be in jail.
Oh, and by the way,
He should
be
be in jail.
You know what really burns my ass too is that wife, that awful woman is on that yacht. God damn it.
Laying there with some drink in her hand.
Fucking
Ew.
asshole.
It's always the assholes that are enjoying this luxury.
This bitch was conspiring to throw over the government.
And she's sipping on margaritas on a super yacht. A super yacht.
Who's advocating,
Ew.
whose husband is advocating to turn over the law that black and white people can be married.
Yes, he's black and she's white.
Yeah, I mean, I hope if you're listening that goes without saying. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, you would know that.
There might be some youngins,
Ginny
know.
Thomas, oy vey.
Ugh.
Oy vey.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see her lounging on a yacht.
The worst part is, I'm mad because I'm jealous, right? I want to be on the yacht. I want the $500,000 vacation.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did I make a wrong turn in my life?
You know what? No, it's better because everyone involved in that has to be corrupt in some way. You don't
And
get a
also,
super yacht by being a
also,
nice guy.
$285,000 as a Supreme Court judge, a job that
That's
you
a
have for
huge
the rest
amount
of
of
your
money.
life. You know they're living in a nice fucking place in DC
That's a
or
lot of
Virginia
money.
somewhere, making money. They have health care. I mean, I know that sounds like a really blue collar thing to say, but it's real.
Yeah.
And that's a job you have for the rest of life. And you are a United States Supreme Court judge, the highest court in the land. And you aren't happy.
Yeah,
you aren't satisfied.
You need a super yacht.
Yeah. You need to take gifts, and then there's a picture of them
I
all
would
sitting
love
around
to
this
see,
fire, and he's pontificating. He's sitting there talking, and they're all white, and he's sitting there, and I'm like, there's something so in the background, and right behind him is a statue of a native, a indigenous person, in full garb.
Oh, I thought you were
in
going to tell me
stone,
there was
this.
a deer up on
and
the
I'm
wall.
like, everything in this picture is just so bizarre to me. And what does this picture show? Is he working? Is he giving a lecture? What is he doing in this picture?
Wait, is that at the men's lodge?
Yeah, the men's lodge where they're jerking each other off into the fire. It's a circle jerk happening.
Something is happening at that men's lodge.
And also, are we a little old for this?
I mean,
oh yeah, a little
I don't
old
know.
man camp trip with
I
all
don't-
dudes.
I don't know. I mean, I would go on a totally like all female,
Yeah,
like
well, of
let me go,
course, of
you know,
course.
in what do they call those steam huts or whatever?
Yeah, but if you were able to go on a vacation with just you and your husband, wouldn't you go?
With just me and my husband.
Yeah, like no kids. I understand leaving the kids behind.
Yeah.
But leaving the wives behind?
I mean,
What about a little, you know, whoopee? Nobody's interested in this because we're all jerking each other off at the fucking lodge.
well, or they're bringing people in.
Oh.
I've just, you know, I'm almost done reading Less Than Zero, and
Oh.
it's just reminding me, you know, rich people
Yeah.
and the depravity. Like, it's just, I had
Depravity.
to stop. Depravity. We're going to cut that.
No, we're not,
No,
because it's the first time I'm ever correcting you on saying
No,
something.
we gotta correct. Sorry. But it's just depraved, you know? Like, I couldn't finish. I had to stop reading at the end.
Oh my God.
I had to stop. Like, I was getting sick to my stomach. But that's what I think about when I think of the men's club and these rich people and the super yachts. Like, it's so much excess and boredom.
Yeah.
Because you have so much.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not.
But also,
No bueno.
I would love to be so bored because I don't have anything to do because I'm so fucking rich.
I don't know what. I can't
Can you-
imagine what that's like.
I mean, let me
do
say something.
every day.
If we could make a living from this podcast, and I'm saying living is
I'm saying living is like I live
100,000 a
now.
year.
Well, God, that's more than I make.
I mean, it's more than I make too. It's more than I make too, believe me. But if we could make that,
Oh, then
that's
I
could
that's
sustain.
But I feel like that's high living. You know,
That is high living. That's what I'm saying is like minimum. If we
Yeah.
can make 100K each minimum
Wow,
to live,
your mouth to God's ears,
Right?
baby.
and if anything else, we'll take it. We'll take it. You want to give us more than that? We'll take it. If we can maintain that, I'll be fucking happy, bitch. To sit here once a week and talk for an hour,
Yes.
you get paid $100,000.
Oh my God, yeah.
Please.
Jeez.
You talk 52 hours a year. That's it. Oh, and our book tour, because we got
Yeah.
a book tour.
Yeah.
And a podcast tour.
Yeah.
2 live shows.
Yeah.
Oh,
Make it happen. Make it happen. Make it
oh
happen.
my God. I really
Yay.
think we could do this.
I do too. I mean, I talked to a lovely woman for Women Who Podcast. It's their 2-year anniversary.
Oh,
And-
happy anniversary.
And the woman I was interviewing, she was talking all about, you know, persistence, like sticking to it and all of that, and that it takes, she's like, you know, the people who are the money makers who have the names, like they're immediately, and she's like, but it's she's like, you got to play the long game. And I was like, that's good advice.
God.
So,
So long, though.
I know. All right, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, today
Mm.
I'm going to tell you the story of Susanna Salter. Susanna Salter served on several community boards, but it was a prank from locals that led to her becoming mayor. Have you heard this
What?
story? Yeah.
No.
This is like a cute little story.
It seems like it's almost painful for you to tell these stories.
No, this is a fun one.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know.
no,
I
yeah.
mean painful for you. Like you don't want to. You like to do those other ones.
I do like to
Get
do
back
the
to
other
it, girl.
ones.
Like we're doing it
No,
every
no,
other
no,
week.
no.
You do it every week. You can do those dark
Well,
stories.
I saw this and I meant to do it for Women's History, and then I forgot about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'll just do it. So,
All right, let's hear it.
all right. So our story takes place in Kansas, and Susanna Salter was born in 1860 in the town of Belmont, Kansas.
Oh.
She was the daughter of a successful farmer and a businessman, and she grew up in this loving, you know, supporting family and all of that. And according to the Kansas Historical Society, Salter attended the Kansas State Agricultural College, now known as Kansas State University. And she graduated with a degree in literary and scientific studies.
Mm.
So after college, she marries this guy, Louis Salter, and he was a lawyer. He ends up being like a clerk, like a law clerk in a town. And he was the son of the former lieutenant governor of Kansas. And they head over to Argonia, Kansas. And this is according to like the wiki bio. And they have 4 kids, and you know, they're living their life, you know? But it's the late 1800s. And while there were definite expectations for women, Salter kind of defied those expectations. And the Women's History Museum writes that she was active in some community organizations, and specifically the local temperance union. And that was where the Women's Christian Temperance Union, and she eventually becomes the leader of that organization.
Nice.
And it's her involvement in this organization that eventually leads her down the path to becoming the first female mayor in the United States.
Holy shit!
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yes,
Okay,
I love it.
Very exciting. So here's the major incident.
Yeah, very exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So in 1887,
Yeah.
a group of men, and I read varying accounts of like how many, but roughly like 20 guys in the town, because this is a small town to begin with. And they decide to play a prank on the women's suffrage movement by nominating Salter for mayor. So that's how it starts out. They're like, we're going to throw her name on the ballot and like just humiliate the women's suffrage movement.
What is it like to not have evolved since the late 1800s?
I know, right?
Dudes, come on,
it's
get your shit together.
It's crazy.
Still don't think women should be leaders. I mean, my God.
Yeah, it's
Still
true.
think it's a joke.
It's true.
It's so fucking weird.
It's very weird.
It's so
and,
weird.
And like these men that are like, you know, women, their sole purpose is, you know, just having babies and being wives. Like, it's so disgusting.
It's just so bizarre, too.
Yeah.
Because are we past that at all? I mean, I understand if like some great grandfather somewhere's like, women should be in the kitchen. But like, are we really still teaching our kids that?
I think definitely there are people teaching their children that,
Wow, it's so fucking weird.
The Smithsonian Magazine reports that men involved in the scheme were doing it, one, to embarrass the women's suffrage movement, but they also wanted to kind of show that maybe women were unfit for office, right? And they were also pissed off because the Women's Christian Temperance Union was all about like, hey, let's not have alcohol, right? And they were protesting outside of bars to try to pressure men into sobriety. And it's like, girls, like I get what you're trying to do, but it's not gonna happen, you know? And the men were like, oh, they were sick of sort of this attention and they didn't want that in the town. And you know, this election for mayor was coming up and the Women's Christian Temperance Union had put up a candidate, a guy, but he was for temperance, so he was all about like, let's regulate alcohol in the town. So they were pissed off. So they're also, you know, the whole women's suffrage thing and like women getting involved in their business. So they throw Salter's name on the ballot, and then they had their person, right? So that's sort of another reason they threw her, you know, hat in the ring. So even though Salter found out about the nomination late, so some articles I read that she found out like the very day of the election.
Oh my gosh.
Like, hey, your name's on the ballot. She accepted the nomination. And she even campaigned for the position in like the small time that she had.
Oh my God.
And like she wasn't ashamed. She kind of leaned right into, you know, she realizing this is a prank, but she's like, okay, I'll do it.
Oh my God, I love her.
But some people were pissed off that she stayed in the race.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
So on April 4th, 1887,
wow,
she won the election by a 2/3 majority.
Wow.
Yeah. And these guys were pissed.
2/3? That's really good.
Yeah. They were pissed off that she won, of course. And basically, she just took their attempt to humiliate her. And she's like, I'm going to empower myself with this, and I'm going to serve as mayor. I was elected. I'm going to do it.
Nice.
So the Foundation for Economic Education's Lawrence Reed writes that Salter's election made headlines across the country. So I just took a couple of headlines and excerpts from newspapers at the time because I thought it was funny. The Fort Worth Daily Gazette wrote, Mayor Susanna Salter, the only female mayor that America has ever known. Boston Daily Globe, Mayor Susanna Salter, the woman who enjoys a unique distinction of being mayor, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then an excerpt of a newspaper, it was the Massachusetts Nationalist, and I got this from the Kansas Historical Society. They put out all of this incredible information and like old, you know, quotes and stuff from articles and letters at the time. So this was from this newspaper, and it said, the Kansas women have done it. Susanna Medora Salter, mayor of Argonia, a little town of 500 inhabitants, is the first woman ever elected to that office. And she is not an unsexed female either, but the wife of a lawyer and the mother of 4 children. So
unsexed?
Yeah, so they're basically like, oh, is it some spinster? No, she's actually married with children. Can you?
Is that another way of saying virgin?
I guess
Unsexed?
unsexed female. I read that and was like, what the fuck?
God, when you talk about
Oh
language
my
and like
God.
using different things, how can we say this without really
Yeah.
saying it? But the word sex is still in there, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
Unsexed.
Yeah. And it says, there is no more likelihood of her neglecting her babies. She is only 27 and the children cannot be much beyond babyhood than her husband would neglect his practice if he had been elected to the same office. So they're kind of like, okay, like she's going to probably do a good job. And
Well, I mean, come on.
she did do a good job. This is a small town though. So like there were no,
Right.
major crisis or issues that she had to tackle as mayor. But a lot of people thought that she was going to be an utter failure just because she was a woman.
Oh my God.
And she held her office with integrity. She didn't let the men on the dais intimidate her. And even though a couple of them were part of the prank, so she had to work with guys
Wow.
who were part of the prank and then threw her name on the ballot, and then she gets elected and she's mayor, so she's above them, which I'm like, oh wow, guys,
Oh my
you
God.
suck. So, according to Monroe Billington of Kansas Historical Society, she presided over the meetings with, quote, a firm hand. But he did say, again, that there were no new ordinances that were being passed. The two big issues at the time was that they had to talk to kids about throwing rocks.
Oh,
And then
God.
there were some people that I guess wanted to start different like billiard, pool hall kind of things. And there was arguments about what the licensing fee should be and how many and this and that. Like that was like the biggest thing that they had to tackle. So like nothing major. And the article further noted that over time, she really became more of a curiosity. So people would come visit the town because like there's a female mayor in town,
I love that.
And so
those
when-
are my people.
So when folks came to town, they were like, yeah, hey, check out our female mayor. Like, they
She's
kind of got
standing there,
over,
like-
they got over, I guess,
Yeah.
the issue. And it was like, okay, this is our thing for
Yeah.
the town. And it got
You
the
mean
town.
the world didn't end
Yeah.
because a woman was elected to be a mayor? My God.
Well, they were worried about petticoat rule, right? That it was going to be a bunch of women who were going to take over councils and
Oh
rule. And
my
they didn't want to
God.
be, under that. Under
But
women.
that's how the same thing when you try to elect a person of color.
Yeah, it's always bullshit after bullshit
It
after
is.
bullshit.
It's fucked up.
So when she was asked, though, if she was going to run again when her term was up, Salter said, quote, no, indeed. I shall be very glad when my term of office expires and shall be only too happy to thereafter devote myself entirely, as I have always done heretofore, to the care of my family. So she's like, I'm going to go back and do my thing. Like I did this and,
All right.
And the Kansas Historical Society cited 2 negative reports on her decline to run again. So basically, like, she can't handle it kind of thing. So one said she plans to return to private life and leave the government of Argonia to the care of the sterner sex. Mayor Salter's experience proves that women's suffrage is its own cure. Like, screw you.
Yeah.
What an asshole, whoever wrote that. And then the other newspaper said that she was essentially, again, tired of serving and said that she, quote, finds official duties less troublesome than household duties, which she also attends to and does not complain of either.
I got a sink full of dishes, bitch. Come on.
I mean,
Come and take care of them for me.
please. So the aftermath of all of this, Shiros writes that Salter's election inspired other women across the country to run for public office.
Love it. See? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Come on.
and by the end of the 19th century, over hundreds of women had been elected to public office throughout the United States.
All right.
And she got letters from around the world
Amazing.
congratulating her. Like people from France and Germany, like sending her letters. And,
I
like,
love this.
Yeah, and all this press like coming to town interviewing.
Oh.
And one newspaper came, and when they came to town, like they commented on her outfit, like 'cause she had this dress and some big hat on, so they like kind
Yeah.
of described like her outfit, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, but they, but they were sure to say that, she handled, the running of a meeting, that it showed that she knew her like parliamentarian skills, that it was clear like she could do it.
Yeah.
And that newspaper noted that, so
Nice.
that's important.
I like it.
And she also offered hope to women. So here's a letter that the Kansas Historical Society posted from the time. And it says, Dear Madam, I write you this letter to you feeling interested in the equality of man and woman. And as your state, Kansas, stands first to open the double door for a higher civilization to the whole world. The dreams of my childhood have bloomed and ripened into a rich fruitage in the person of Mrs. Salter, allow me to congratulate you as I feel proud of my sister woman in her manifest ability as mayor of Argonia. Most respectfully, Mrs. Mary C. Knight.
Oh my God.
Isn't that so cute?
Yes.
So it's like women everywhere are like, holy shit, like she's
I love
mayor.
the equality of man and woman is such a good line too.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the dreams of my childhood have bloomed. Like, you know, like she always hoping that women could become something.
Yeah.
It's so cool. But I also wanted to share a negative letter.
Oh God.
Here
comes Tina.
Only because it's ridiculous.
Yes.
And it's a poem.
Oh, well.
Are you ready?
And again, here comes Tina.
This is such a good poem. You're going to love it. When a woman leaves her natural sphere, and without her sex's modesty or fear, essays the part of man, she in her weak attempts to rule, but makes herself a mark for ridicule. A laughing stock and sham, article of greatest use is to her then something worn distinctively by men. A pair of pants will do. Thus she will plainly demonstrate that nature made a great mistake in sexing such a shrew.
Who wrote that?
So some letter didn't say who wrote it.
God.
Like
So bothered.
so bothered that he wrote a poem.
Yeah.
Or she, who knows, whoever
Yeah.
penned the letter,
Yeah.
wrote a poem.
Holy
Was
cow.
driven to write a poem about this lady.
What
in some
rhymes
small
with
town.
shrew?
Wow. So, but imagine being the woman who challenged gender stereotypes and, you know, like that's your legacy. Kind of cool.
Oh,
And paving the
very
way for
cool.
women.
No,
So
very
some
cool.
points of interest. So some sites did say like the reason why she also was able to win is one, she is, you know, in that local organization. So women of the town knew her and
Of
they were
course.
probably, you know, all pushing for her to win.
They knew the guys must know who she
Yes.
is, that they, you know,
And
put
they
her
throw
name
her
on
name on there. But her father was the first mayor of Argonia.
Oh.
So he was the mayor. So she has that name recognition.
Yeah.
You know, so there's all that I'm sure that went in it. And the Kansas Historical Society noted that like her husband, when he found out they put her name on the ballot, was pissed off. He's
I
like,
was wondering.
what the hell? And then he gets home and then he finds out that she like accepted the nomination and he got even more pissed that she chose to serve if elected. Like he was
my
annoyed
God.
by it. But I like that she still stuck to her guns.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
So later on in life, she ends up moving to Oklahoma. And from what I read, she was still involved in civic work, you know? And it's like, you know, always an activist and a volunteer.
No.
No?
I got a letter or emails for my son's got a play coming up and it's like, we need parent volunteers. I see the word volunteer, I run for something else. Like I'm like, it gives me the, you
The
know,
heebie-jeebies.
trigger
Yeah.
word for me
Yeah.
now.
It's a lot of work. But I want to note that she was not the first woman to hold public office in the U.S., but she was the first woman to be elected mayor.
Okay, yeah.
So in 1869, Wyoming became the first territory or state in the U.S. to grant women the right to vote and hold public office. So in that same year, a woman named Esther Hobart Morris became the first woman to hold public office in the U.S., and that was as Justice of the Peace in South Pass City, Wyoming. So there were other people. I think there may have been another woman who maybe a similar thing happened where she gets elected and she declined.
Huh.
Like she was like, I don't want it. So
That's weird.
and then Karen Greenwald wrote a children's book about Susanna called A Vote for Susanna, the first woman mayor, and she has started a campaign last year to have a commemorative stamp made in Susanna Salter's honor. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's the story. Isn't that exciting?
A very good story.
So it's a positive.
Very, very good. Oh
And
my
then
God.
I'll just bring it down next week.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I went to, my daughter's going to high school next year, and so we went to her high school to register her for classes. I mean, the conversation from my door to that school, which isn't very far, and what I was allowed and not allowed to say to her or do in front of her or near her, it took forever. We were still walking up to school, and I'm like, are
She
you
just had
still
a list?
going?
She had a list?
Yes!
What
Well,
did
she didn't have it. It was here, but she was still giving it to me.
But what?
So I
Just give me a couple
We were
highlights.
walking up and out. You know, I'm thrilled. I'm so excited. And I'm like, I'm like, really, because I'm like, high school again.
Yeah.
I get to go to high school. I'm so excited, right? And we're walking up, and I'm just like, and I see the mascot, and he's in like the outfit, and I go, oh, let me take a picture of you with the mascot. She's like, absolutely not. Don't get over. And we go walking near, and the mascot starts doing this, and I was like,
Oh no.
and she like bolted like away from me.
Oh.
Then we get up
sweet.
there, we get her stuff, and I filled the thing out, and whenever I turned it in, we go inside, and as we walk into the auditorium to sit down, it's kind of full, but I'm looking for seats, and she's like, let's just stand up against the wall. And I was like, no, we're not gonna, she didn't want to walk through the auditorium.
Oh.
So I look over, and I see a boy who is a friend of hers, who I specifically was told I cannot talk to, even though it's one of her good friends. She talks to this kid all the time. And I was like, I really want to meet him. And she was like, what are you going to say? I go, hello? No. So then I see a friend of mine, and so I go and sit over there. And then when we were walking in to go register her for her classes, there was another kid who I definitely recognized because he might have been part of like a love triangle, right? And so I was like, oh, baby, is that a couple rows up? Is that so-and-so? She's like, don't say anything. Like everything was so on the DL. I'm like I didn't really exist, you know? And then we go to turn the paper in, and I was so excited. And so we turned the stuff in, and as we were walking away, I was like doing what is this one called? The Roger Rabbit? I don't know, but I was going like this, and I was doing a dance. And because I'm so excited, I'm like, yeah, we got our classes, you know, and I'm dancing, and she was like, like her face. It was half laughing, half like, I want to die. Like, just bury me at the school. You know? She was so mad.
Oh my god.
So then they were selling shirts, and I go over to buy a shirt, and I'm like, let's get a shirt. And she's like, oh, they don't have the size that I want or whatever. So then I went to take a picture of her, and she literally was like, no pictures, looking around. I'm like, just stand against the wall and let me take a picture. This is a big deal. What is this?
It's called being a teenager.
I know, but I remember, but I also don't remember ever being this, like, anything can make you an outcast. She just wants people to not notice her. And, you know.
I think I was like that a lot.
I mean, I was shy, but I don't remember being embarrassed like this. Like, this is so, like, anything could bring her down. Like, any moment, anything that I do.
It's probably just, you know, it's that... I can't believe she's going to be in high school, first of all.
I know, me neither. She's taking a lot of really good classes,
It
though.
goes by so fast. My God.
I know. Here we go. High school.
High school. That's all I have. I don't know a song about high school. Glee? I never watched
What?
High School Reunion? No, is it High School Reunion? High School?
No, Glee isn't one of those dumb shows.
I never watched it. What is the high school one with the guy in the
Saved by the Bell?
No. It's the one all the kids now watch.
Beverly Hills 90210?
And no, it's like they sing and dance. I don't know.
High School Musical? High School Musical.
My seniors last year, the last month of school, were like, can we please watch High School Musical? And I was like, no. And then we had some day that was like some kind of half day, whatever, fun day sort of day, and we watched part of it, and I was like,
it's terrible.
Yeah, I was
My
like,
kids watched the first one. They really liked it. This was like last summer. They watched the first one. They really liked it. Then they go to watch the second one, and they're like, it's always sequel. It's always bad.
Yeah,
you know? And the
horrible.
third one, it got worse. It was like so bad. That made me think of Zac Efron, who's in it.
Oh, that's who it is. That's
And
who
then-
it is. I want to say Justin Bieber, but it's
No,
not. They have the
I
same
cannot believe you
head.
just said Justin Bieber, because that's what I was going to say, is that I realized today I don't know one song that Justin Bieber sings. I don't know a single name of a single song. And I know he's a huge artist.
He is.
But I don't know anything he does. It was part of that. It's out of my age
it's
range.
way out of our
right?
age range.
And so I don't know anything. And I know, like, I'm watching this amazing Netflix documentary on Lewis Capaldi. Do you know who that is? Lewis Capaldi?
Mm-mm.
He's this singer from Scotland. And I would describe him as the boy version of Adele.
Oh.
Beautiful songs, beautiful lyrics, beautiful. He's got the voice is incredible, and he's this young kid, and he blew up like in 2018-19. He became this huge star. And then right when his tour was ending was like March 2020, and then the world falls apart, right? But right when it was ending, like this pressure was on him. All this, like, he's playing bigger and bigger places, and he started to get this like tick, and he couldn't.
No.
His last show was like at Wembley Stadium, and he's stopping the songs because he couldn't sing, and it was like, what the fuck is going on, right?
Oh, that's terrible.
And they find out, like, he takes a break, like a 4-month break, and they realize that he's got Tourette's.
Oh.
So now this documentary is talking about all of that, like what led up to his fame and all of that, and it's a lot with his parents, who are incredible, and talking about being diagnosed, but he's now trying to make the second album, or I think it's about to come out maybe. But it's so scary.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know what was wrong with him, and his dad kept saying, why are you ticking like this? What the hell's going on? And when you say something about it, it would get worse, and then his whole body would start doing this thing. He's on stage in front of 50,000 fucking people.
So did he always have it, and then anxiety just kind of triggers it?
Yes, so what happened was the mother said...
Because I'm like, how do you...
The mother said, and they were showing like home videos of him when he was a little kid, like maybe 4 or 5, and she said he used to do this thing where he would blink a lot, you know? And then he'd go, you know? But it all went away. And then I think the pressure of all of it kind of came down on him, and this now trying to write a second album, every time he'd go to sit down at the piano, his back would hurt him, and I'm like, this is all mental. It's all like bringing on these symptoms of this thing. But he's such a what a sweet man. He's like he's like a good guy. He lives in his hometown still. He's still in touch with all his friends. Like that's who he hangs out with, and like he's such a really good guy. And now he's got this thing that he's got to get through. I don't even know. I'm not finished with it yet, but I think it's a really good documentary. I also watched the documentary, The 27 Faces of Billy Milligan.
I didn't see that either.
Watch that. That's fucked up, girl. You gotta watch it.
Okay, that'll be my weekend.
It's so good. Murderino, like psychology, like multiple personalities. Is it real? Is it not? What the fuck?
This is right up my alley.
It is so good. Billy Milligan.
Right up my alley.
Yeah.
Ooh, yay. All right.
Watching a lot of television.
Yeah, I told you I've been reading that book. Wow.
Yeah.
And I thought that I read the book because I've read a bunch of stuff by Bret Easton Ellis, you know, American Psycho and Rules of Attraction and whatever. And I never read Less Than Zero. And I remember the movie, which I'm sure you remember.
Yeah.
And the movie was like pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
And the book is like the movie's very tame.
Yeah. I've been going through my favorite like old movies list, and last night I watched Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Ooh, great movie.
I'm telling you,
it's a good movie.
I'm so in love with those women in that movie. They are insane. They're both fucking insane.
Yeah.
To me, I Betty Davis in that movie. I was like, I'm gonna be her for Halloween. Like I can't take it.
She's incredible.
I need one of those little dresses. I need the curly wig like this, and that weird little heart mole that she drew on her face.
I have not seen that movie.
Oh my god!
In years, but that's a good one for my son and I to watch because he's like into like the old.
Oh, what do you want, Blanche? She serves her a rat, serves her a bird. Holy shit! It never fucking ends. Man. But it's one of those times too in Hollywood when everybody talk like this.
Yeah, they have that
picture. I love myself in that picture.
There's I forget what the name is, but that accent has a particular name that they did for a movie, and a lot of like old Alfred Hitchcock and stuff. You hear it, and you're like, "What the hell?
Why are they pronouncing things
like this?" Yeah.
But my favorite ever. I know we're at the end, but my favorite ever is that when Baby Jane was little and she sang that song. Did you know what about?
No, do it.
She got a letter in her hand. She goes, hold on. I got a letter for Daddy. But he's in heaven above. It's like the sad fucking song when she's like, I see
but it's crazy eyes.
Instead of a stamp, I kissed it. Because that's what the postman said works. Or something like that. Oh my god. But when she goes, I wrote a letter to Daddy. It's so fucking beyond creepy.
Yeah, it's great.
Wow. That was a thing then too. this little girl and daddy, like, fucking weird bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a weird fucking thing.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
My daddy?
It's like the Betty Boop kind
It's
of,
fucking weird.
you know, that voice and the inflection.
One last thing. Baltimore Catholic Church Diocese, the
Oh.
Baltimore Diocese,
Yeah.
just got blown the fuck up for 6 decades of cover-up.
6 decades.
I'm going to put it at the top of my list next week.
6 decades.
Yeah, that got blown up. Also, I need to add...
And they want to go after the Christians, want to go after everybody else, and they never look at themselves. And all of the right-wing networks that are all about protecting kids, where are you on this?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Let's talk about that next week because it's a lot. And also, and it puts like that Boston, blow up, like, to shame, the Boston one that they had there with the church. But,
But then you have to imagine how many churches, how many people.
No, it's a lot.
They're still out there.
600 priests.
Oh,
600 priests.
It's disgusting.
We're covered up for. I also want to bring up, and I'll bring it up next week, that I met Annette, our fan Annette. I brought it up on our Patreon, and she sent me messages, and I was like, she's like, you also haven't talked about Memphis. And I was like, oh my God. So next week, Annette, I will bring that up, but I love you. I was so happy to meet you and your sweet husband.
Aww.
And yeah, so I guess that's it.
Okay.
We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.